It wouldn't be far-fetched of me to say that everybody would like their good habits to stick and for their bad habits to go away. And of course the way to do that is to focus on the good habits so much that they start to replace the bad habits. So you understand that you need to focus on implementing the good habits in your life, becoming more consistent with them, and ultimately making them a part of your everyday life. But how do you do that? Sometimes I just don't feel like meditating or journaling or getting up early and going for a walk or eating clean or doing the work that I know I need to do. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. So how on earth would I get around that? The answer to that is something that you probably have heard of before, but you need to hear it explained in a bit more detail. And the secret to make your habits stick and concretely become a part of your routine is to focus on the actions that you take instead of the results that you get. And alongside that, also developing the mindset of a man who takes such actions and continuing to live true to that. So let me explain all of that. Of course, firstly, you focus on the actions that you take every single day instead of the results. Because yes, although you're trying to gain results, and results are what you need in order to make a difference in your life, the only way for you to get results in the first place is to take the correct actions. Because take the gym, for example. You could consistently go to the gym 6 days a week for a year, and you could make fantastic progress at the end of that first year. But getting there wouldn't be a smooth journey in the slightest. There would be days where you do fantastically well and get more results than expected, and some days you may plateau, or you may lose some progress and results. And if you were to overthink and focus on that, you may mess up your consistency and progress for the rest of the year, all because something didn't go well in the middle of it all. And so secondly, alongside that, you develop the mindset to go along with it. I think I made the mistake before of developing the mindset of a man who gets fantastic results basically, and didn't really focus on having the mindset of a man who takes specific actions daily. And what I mean by that is that I would have the mindset of a highly productive, hardworking man, and although I had that, my expectation was to get results from that, and results from the work that I'm doing, instead of focusing on the daily actions that a hard-working, productive man would take. And I now learned from that mistake, and I understand to be highly productive and hard-working, you need to take care of yourself outside of just doing work, because you may not be able to sustain that work, or you may get distracted, or you may get tired if you don't take care of yourself outside of that. And so the takeaway point from this mindset is that you should have a mindset and try to be like the man who's highly productive, hardworking, successful, rich, strong, smart, powerful. Yes, aspire to all of that, but think about what that man does in his day-to-day life. Probably gets up early at the same time every day because he's disciplined. He probably does some exercise first thing in the morning, drinks plenty of water, doesn't eat shit, eats healthy food that is good for him and gives him more energy. He would meditate, journal, be mindful, probably socialize with his family or his community. He would do all of those things, and only then would he work and be highly productive and hardworking. Like I said, of course we're going to aspire to get certain results. We don't aspire to do things every single day. We want the results from said thing. But we need to focus on the everyday actions because that is the only way we're going to get there. And so I made myself something. I made myself a habit tracker. But it isn't some old thing. I went quite in depth with it. And I spent 3 hours up to this point to create just this. So right now I will put on screen the habit tracker that I have for myself. It's on an Excel spreadsheet, and way back from the 21st of May, I can see all of the habits that I want to do, and if I did them or missed them on the day, and what my consistency is kind of like. And having a habit tracker like this at least helps me stick to my habits and make sure I do them every day, because of course it's just satisfying to see a whole green column and then doing that consistently and seeing a whole sea of green where I kept doing the habits that I should have been doing and didn't miss anything. And I think another thing that really helped me stick to my habits is having more of them to do. Of course this wouldn't be ideal if you're starting out, because when you're starting out you need to start small so that you can take incremental steps in increasing your discipline and your ability to do things consistently. But if you're at a point where you've been improving yourself for quite a while and you've had your ups and downs and now you're kind of stumbling through it all, trying your best but not achieving consistency, you may just need more to do. Because if you were at a point before where you achieved consistency with the habits that you want to do, but then kind of fell off, one thing that I realized is that if I only have, say, 4 habits to do throughout the whole day, it's very easy to procrastinate on them because they could be done quite easily and there's not a lot to do. But right now I'm at a point where I have 10 habits to do every single day, and some are easier than others, but if I have 10, I'm not going to procrastinate and waste time on one that I could do right now, because I would need to do 9 more after that. And I don't want to overload myself with having to do habits when I have work to do and things to take care of. And so I would do it then immediately in the moment, knowing I have more to do later on in the day. And the very last point that is going to help you achieve consistency the very most when it comes to habits is having discipline. Of course, that is quite guaranteed and you probably were expecting that, but I want to make a point that I haven't heard anyone else really make. And it's that with discipline, the things that you know you should be doing should be done as soon as they come to your mind. And they should not be procrastinated on and pushed down later on in the day. Because it's the same principle as the people who make New Year's resolutions. Because if it's the middle of December and someone is talking about their New Year's resolutions and that they're really going to lose weight this year, or they're going to start that business, or they're really going to start doing this and cut this out, the vast majority of New Year's resolutions don't get anywhere because the people enter the new year in the wrong mind frame. They've only started this bad habit or started cutting out a bad habit only because the date on the calendar said so. And so not only are they doing it for a completely superficial reason, but they've also probably procrastinated on this habit for way too long, and they have only made the jump into doing this habit because of the date of the year. If it was the middle of May, they wouldn't even think about doing this habit. And so they're merely doing it for probably some praise and in the hopes that they would follow through with this habit and achieve any sort of results. And to sum it up, it's basically that when you plan something for tomorrow, tomorrow becomes never. And a good plan today is infinitely better than a perfect plan tomorrow. And so the same way that tomorrow becomes never, soon or I'll do that later also becomes never. And it may not be to the same level. Sure, it's harder to procrastinate on something that you need to do the same day, but you still can very easily procrastinate on it. I'm guilty of this just yesterday. I try to do skincare twice a day, every single day. My skin isn't perfect, so I try to cleanse it and moisturize it. And yesterday, I came home from my girlfriend's house. I had to go into town on the way home, and then by the time I was home, it was like 11 or something. And so I felt like I was already behind schedule, so I came home and instantly started to work. And I started working, and I knew that I should have done skincare as soon as I came back because that's when I do it. But I put it off. I said, no, I'll do it later. And then at one point it was like 3 or 4 p.m. and I remembered to do it again. But I didn't do it. I kept putting it off. And then it simply became too late to do skincare for any sort of good results. Because I could do skincare twice a day. But if I do it at 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., that's of no benefit, and so I wouldn't do that. The rules that I set for myself in terms of skincare is that I cleanse and moisturize in the morning, roughly before 11 a.m, and then I cleanse and moisturize at night time before I go to bed. And anything other than that means that I couldn't tick off that I've done skincare on the day on my habit tracker. And remember what I said about seeing a big sea of green? It's really satisfying to see, and so I want to see that, and so I'm going to stay true to the rules that I set for myself, not only for the habit tracker, but for the benefit of myself. And so after this video is over, and you either start watching another video, or you get on to doing something else, and your mind's wandering, and you think, oh yeah, I haven't done this habit today. I haven't journaled yet today. I haven't meditated. I haven't read the book that I'm reading yet. Or I haven't done any exercise today. I haven't went for my walk. If any of that comes up, go do it immediately, because that is the true meaning of discipline. You're not disciplining yourself if you have the thought to do something and you put it off. There's no difficulty in that. Everybody can put off something that they need to do, but true discipline is doing something what you know you need to do as soon as it comes to mind. If you're walking through your room and you see a bit of rubbish or a dirty t-shirt, you pick it up and put it where it needs to go. You do not put it off and say, I'll deal with it later. That is not discipline. And so to sum everything up, focus on actions rather than results. Develop the mindset of the kind of man that you want to live like, but develop the mindset through the actions that you take and not the results. Perhaps make yourself a habit tracker It could be on a piece of paper, it could be on the laptop, computer, whatever. Have more to do. Because then it means you'll procrastinate less and do things immediately, because you'll not want to overload yourself later on in the day. And lastly, understand that discipline means doing the things right now, and you do not put them off for even a second. And so now you have all of the tools that you need in order to make any sort of habit stick. Stay consistent with it, and then with that consistency, finally achieve results. And if you want to watch more of my content, click and watch this video right now. Put in enough time and attention, because that will make anything into reality.